One shot, two lives, and the world would never be the same again. It wasn't a general or a king or a mighty empire that triggered the bloodiest conflict the world had ever seen. It was a 19-year-old armed with a pistol and a cause. This is the untold story of Gavrilo Princip, the teenage assassin who pulled the trigger that started World War I. In 1914, Europe was a tinderbox. Empires dominated the map: the British Empire, the Russian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But inside those empires, cracks were forming. The Balkans, a small mountainous region in southeastern Europe, was the powder keg. Nations had been carved and claimed without consent. Serbs, Croats, Bosnians, and others, all living under rulers they didn't choose. Many in Bosnia wanted independence from Austria-Hungary. They saw the empire not as a protector, but as a jailer. And from that tension emerged radicals, secret groups, assassins. Gavrilo Princip was born into poverty in Bosnia. Weak, malnourished, often bullied, he was dismissed as a nobody. But Gavrilo had something few people saw: fury and purpose. He joined a secret organization known as the Black Hand, a Serbian nationalist group that believed violence was the only path to freedom. They trained in secret, they plotted in shadows, and when they heard that the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, would be visiting Sarajevo, they saw their chance. June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie ride through Sarajevo in an open-top car. 7 Black Hand members were stationed along the route. The first one chickened out, the second threw a bomb, but missed. It bounced off the car and exploded under the next vehicle. The Archduke, surprisingly calm, continued the visit, but plans changed. They decided to visit the wounded officers in the hospital, a route no one had prepared for. And by sheer coincidence, the car turned down a narrow street. Standing outside a cafe, stunned and still holding his pistol, was Gavrilo Princip. He stepped forward. 2 shots. Franz Ferdinand was hit in the neck, Sophie, his wife, in the stomach. They both died within minutes. The world reeled. What started as a local assassination became an international crisis. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia, Germany backed Austria, Russia backed Serbia, France supported Russia, and Britain was bound to France. Within 30 days, every major power in Europe had declared war. The machine of modern warfare roared to life, and there was no turning back. The war wasn't glorious, it was a massacre. Soldiers marched into battle wearing bright colors and carrying bayonets, only to be met with machine guns, poison gas, and artillery that could level cities. Trenches stretched from the North Sea to Switzerland. Men lived in mud, rats, disease, and fear. Gas attacks melted lungs. Shell shock shattered minds. And men who survived the bullets rarely survived the trauma. By the end of World War I, over 20 million people were dead. An entire generation gone. Gavrilo Princip was captured within minutes. Too young for execution, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison, the maximum allowed. He wasted away in a cold cell. His body, weak from tuberculosis, rotted. He lost his arm to infection. He died in 1918, the same year the war ended. He was 23. Some called him a hero, others a terrorist. But one thing is certain: his actions changed the world forever. One teenager, 2 bullets, 20 million lives lost. History is not shaped only by kings and presidents, but sometimes by the quiet, the desperate, the forgotten. And as the guns fell silent in 1918, the world was left asking, was it worth it? If stories like these move you, subscribe to Echoes of the Past. History isn't dead. It echoes through time,